All right, guys. Despite my furnace running in the background, which is new, here's what's going on. What's up, Finn? I got all my stuff laid out. I got to get the block down here in the basement to start doing some reassembly. Now, there is a couple of things I did see on this bottom end, I would say on the rods, but there isn't any signs that it happened while it was in the car. Besides the one rod, which we had swapped out, matched to weight because it was already balanced. Let me just fix these here. I hope I showed that right. But so either way, the one rod, the piston pin walked out. Besides that, all the bearings are in good shape. Everything looks really good. And the crank is in great shape. Obviously, everything was balanced. We have all our stuff together here. I even got the carburetor that we ran 1158s with, which is a 750 double pumper. I did do a little bit of work to it, thanks to Mylan. I got to do a couple things to it yet because I actually took a couple of parts out of this carburetor, the idle feed restrictors for the 850 that was in the number 6 headed 350, which we ran in 1151 was our best pass last time out with it. And obviously our killer there is that our power band kind of moved because obviously we added a lot more port volume. It's a little slouchier on the bottom end, and I think we need a little bit more gear and converter to kind of make it all work unless we really start looking into different camshafts and stuff like that. So that's plans for the weekend, the winter, which will be done on the weekend. But so this is the ported RPM intake, and I only ported like the first 3 inches of the port and tapered them in because this intake was designed for the RPM cylinder heads, the Edelbrock's, and what I found out is that they bottleneck at the end. So really, you only need to open them up until like the first bend, and it should be sufficient for most applications, kind of similar to mine, if you will. But we got everything together and everything. I got to obviously do a lot of cleaning, a lot of prepping. There's a couple things I want to do, like polish up the bearings, which you can just do that with like old newspaper. It's kind of an old trick. I have polished bearings with, actually, these bearings, there was 2 bearings that were hurt, and I polished them up with 800 grit, and they are all in good shape. So, and it didn't make them oblong or anything. It just fixed the little spots in it, and obviously, like, my rocker arms I have to clean. I got cylinder head bolts here. Our BHJ balancer is actually here. Our push rods, cam, match lifters. We got everything kind of ready to go, but I'm debating on, I got a couple of irons in the fire, and I'm debating on a couple of things, to be honest with you, which, like, this engine worked really good, but I think for our purpose, the weight of the pistons, we really pushed it to kind of like its limits with a pressed pin and a heavier piston, where I think even though we have a pressed pin piston on the number 6 headed 350, which is in the car now, I think the lighter weight puts a lot less stress on the rod. So regardless, neither here nor there. What I'm trying to do is get this engine back together, get it running fairly good, maybe put some dyno time on it, and go from there. And obviously, I've been laying low for a little bit. Work has been really busy. But before I get to any of this, it's like the 800-pound gorilla in the room. I still have to paint Jerry's hood. If you guys remember me mentioning that, that's going to happen here before, in the next couple of weeks. It has to happen. I've just been busy. Friend's wedding, work has been busy, and it looks like work has actually slowed down a little bit, which is okay for me at the moment. But I'm just kind of organizing stuff. I actually worked today. It's a Sunday. I worked today. I went in for like 3 hours and got some stuff done. But we got everything planned out so that this engine is going to be its own standalone thing. It's going to have its own carburetor. I have a bunch of distributors, which the MSD that's in the engine, you know, if I need to tailor the curve, it's pretty easy with the Pro Billet. That's the really nice thing about the Pro Billet, is that you can almost not have to lock out the timing. And I don't understand why guys lock out the timing on those distributors, because right now I think with the combination that we got, I think we got like 18 degrees initial, and it's all in by like 1800 RPM. So really, we're already getting an advance at idle. So the only thing is that you kind of get a little bit of an erratic idle here and there, but it kind of, and I've read about this. Some guys have issues with locking out the centrifugal and it moving unless you weld it. I don't want to do that because sometimes you can take advantage of a timing curve, which our fastest pass with the number 6 headed engine actually had a timing curve in it. I didn't have it locked out. And that 60 foot was a 154, and we're still chasing it. Our best 60 foot so far, I think, is a 162. And I think it's going to come down to gear and converter, and we're trapping at 115, just shy of 116. So we're definitely making more power. We're going in the right direction with that, but that's going to be for the spring. But we got a lot of stuff to do. We got rear end gear change. I got to order a converter, swap transmission. I got to buy some brand new drag radials. The car still hooks good on a drag radial, and it's much faster on a drag radial. So we're going to continue to run the drag radial for more of our max effort stuff, and we're going to keep our bias plies for bracket racing. And we're also going to limit a couple of things with when we're bracket racing. We're not obviously when we're racing, we're not worried about chasing down ET and stuff like that. So I hope this video finds you guys out there well. It's been a little while. Hope your Thanksgiving went well and your holidays coming up are going good for you guys. So share, like, subscribe. As always, follow me on Instagram as Copper Cutlass, and we're going to keep going on this. But there might be some changes going on here down the road because for the money, we might change a couple things on this. We may not. We might just put this all back together and run it, because ultimately we only hurt one rod. And this engine did run really good. It had great oil pressure. Our very first time out, it ran an 1158, 113 with a 162 60 foot, which is just as good as what's going on right now with the 350 that's in the car. But this engine was making some good power. Despite having a dual plane intake, it ran really good, even with the heavier piston. This thing was screaming. It was a good engine. And that's why I really want to put this thing back together, and I really want to make this combination shine, because it kind of goes against the grain with the dual plane intake and the heavier pistons. Clearly, we're finding out some limitations, but we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to actually put some theories to test here. And, the information I would give you guys isn't theory. It's literally what I've learned and what I'm doing. There's application of theory, but I'm not a teacher, so I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about why this, that, and the other. There's much better people out there. There's much better information out there. I'm just an oaf who does this for fun. Now, another neat thing, too, before I sign off completely, is I decided to keep the Kennebell oil pan, and we're going with the Melling high-pressure oil pump, which the stock pump with the restrictors, the oil pressure was perfect, and we did open up the restrictors in the short block to allow a little bit more flow to the top end. I wasn't too happy with having restrictors at like I think they were like 30,000. I opened them up to 60, and then I also opened up the pound-in cam feed restrictors for the cam bearings. I opened those up a little bit too, but I do have to change at minimum one ring for the cylinders. For one of the cylinders, I got new cam bearings. I also, the neat part is going to be, and this is actually what I was trying to talk about, was about a couple of oil pump pickups, because we're going to have to make a custom pickup for that oil pan. And I'm going to have a neat way of doing that. But it's going to take a little bit of welding, a little bit of doing, but we're gonna get it going. Because the Kennebell oil pump clearly failed on us. So that's why I ended up stealing the oil pump from the J-headed 350 for the number 6-headed 350. And that's just a high volume Melling oil pump. Oil pressure is decent on the big end, same as before. Made absolutely no difference between the Kennebell and or the Melling high volume pump. Between the clearances and everything, oil pressure is literally the same as day one going down the track. Nothing changed between the high volume and the standard volume. We still got oil pressure at 7,000 RPM on the big end. So share, like, subscribe. I've talked enough. I've bored you enough. It's been a while. Have a good one.